Kids who peaked in middle school.
You're probably familiar with peaking in high school. If you've graduated, I'm sure you can think of people who were the coolest back in high school, but now have seemingly fizzled into
losers.
nothing. Whether it be the football player that was good, but never good enough to make it to college, or
What the fuck was that haircut? Not that. Not that.
whether
What
it be the football player that was good, but never good enough to make
Wait,
it.
what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? I'm not gonna sit up here and let you get away with this. What am I looking at right now?
College, or the prom king or queen that were the most desired people back in high school, but never really had any goals or aspirations and were completely unprepared for the cold reality of life. Or that one girl, how do I say this, who enjoyed sharing her cheer to all the boys at school. Whatever the example in your mind may be, it's a very familiar and very true trope. But that's why I'm not here to talk about peaking in high school. I'm here to talk about an even sadder and less discussed scenario: peaking in middle school.
No, this is real. This is real. I know people who definitely peaked in middle school because they won't stop talking about it to this day.
Buckle up, because this video might be depressing to those that it applies to. Now, you may be thinking, Philip, peaking in middle school? What does that even mean? In middle school, I was doing Fortnite dances and pooping in urinals. How is it even possible to peak when I'm 12 years old? Well, let me tell you with a real life story. When I was 12 years old, the coolest middle schooler of all time was Mikey Williams, the self-proclaimed #1 ranked 7th grade basketball player in the country.
This dude should be in the NBA and he's still playing some dumb AAU. I don't know if he's in college. I don't know what he's doing, but this dude was a senior in high school for like 4 years in a row.
He was in my grade, so I remember back in 2018 when he was dunking as an 8th grader, talking trash, dapping up LeBron, and breaking all these crazy scoring records. And not to mention, every single girl I knew, and I mean every single girl I knew back in middle school, had a crush on him. I mean, this dude was the king of 8th graders. As a middle schooler, he had a bigger social media following than most NBA players, and he was being interviewed and profiled by virtually every single basketball news outlet. But 8th grade was kind of the peak of the Mikey Williams hype train. Now, don't get me wrong, in high school he was still very popular, but the competition started to catch up, and he went from the #1 ranked 8th grader in the country to the number 39 ranked player in his graduating class.
Damn.
And just as his college season was about to start, he got caught with a super soaker and is now facing very scary charges. And that is the most extreme but sad reality of peaking in middle
High top of doom. What is that hair?
school. I remember back when I played on my middle school basketball team, there was another kid on the team who averaged 20 points a game. And for those that don't know, averaging 20 points in middle school is a damn near Kobe Bryant performance every single game. This dude was legit and had a crazy bag, but none of the high school coaches were interested in him because he never really listened to the coach in middle school and relied more on his natural talent than any sort of work ethic. That's why when I got to 9th grade, I was surprised to hear that he wasn't playing basketball at all. This dude was the coolest guy in middle school. I mean, he had yes men as a 13-year-old. I literally remember that he just had an entourage of dudes with him that went everywhere with him and just agreed with him. But I also remember every time we did conditioning drills in basketball, he was...
Bro, who would cook during the pacer test? I'm not gonna lie. I was the dude who would do the pacer test and wouldn't stop. I would not stop. I would just go, okay. I'm gonna be honest. I would try to be the person who would win, but once it comes down to the last person, I'm done. The people who would keep going to try to get to like 200, you're a tryhard. I wouldn't go that far, but I would try to win.
Always the guy that was just walking behind everyone as if he was too good for it. And that's why middle school is as far as he ever went in terms of social status and basketball. Every time I saw him in the hallways in high school, he just seemed like he just didn't care. And don't get me wrong, he still had friends and seemed like a chill dude, but you can tell that he never really reached his potential. And that's what I'm talking about when I say peaking in middle school. If the coolest kid in elementary school was the...
Bro, like, when you stop and think about that for a second, you're like 13 years old and that's the peak of your life. Like, there's dead ass people who Like, that's their highest point. That's their mountaintop. Is 8th grade lunch. Like, that's not crazy? And they still talk about it to this day like they were him.
The guy who was the fastest at recess, then the coolest kid in middle school was the guy who had the most Instagram followers and highest snap score, the one who got all the girls and started on the basketball or football team. And a lot of those guys transitioned their coolness into high school, but the ones that were left behind are a really sad story. I remember when I was 13, there was dudes who were smoking and smashing. Like, that was just insane to me. When I was 13, I was playing 2K and watching the odd ones out. Like, that was insane to me. I guess some people just developed faster. Probably even too fast. Because those same dudes got hella raggedy in high school and just reeked of grass everywhere they went. I did like the anti-peak in middle school. Like, middle school was probably my lowest point. I think back to some moments when I was 12 and 13 and just cringe. I was so insecure and had no clue how to act, so I just tried all these different styles and they all failed, and I wasn't comfortable in my own skin. I was so jealous of the kids that were at the top of the social hierarchy in middle school, the ones that just seemed to fit in and always be the center of attention and say the right things. I mean,
that was the thing about school. It's like you had to literally force yourself to try to fit in. Otherwise, you were gonna be like bullied almost. Like, if you weren't like everybody else, oh my god, here comes everybody coming to shit on you. Like, you literally had to do it as like a survival tactic. But the people who like wanted you to conform, those are the people that peaked. Those are the people that didn't reach any level further than being 13 years old in Miss Susan's math class, throwing paper balls.
I was a film kid back in middle school, in a generation where no one is a film kid. I remember I was referencing like Martin Scorsese movies in 8th grade when people were making TikToks, hit or miss. You remember that? I mean, I didn't even really fit in with like the nerdy kids or like the gamer kids, because I was into basketball, but I was also into movies and I was also into video editing. And I was just this weird amalgamation of things that didn't make sense jumbled together, and I just didn't feel like I was in place anywhere. I mean, don't get me wrong, I wasn't like an outcast, and I still had friends, but I just felt like I didn't really find myself. I was constantly plagued by insecurities and felt underconfident in pretty much every scenario, but I improved myself a lot in high school and spent a lot of time improving my confidence, becoming more comfortable in social scenarios, and finding friends that were more aligned to myself. And I think that's the beauty of middle school. It's a time where you're allowed.
Whoa, I remember this book, Captain Underpants, Diver Wimpy Kid, and Big Nate. One of them ones.
Out to be this mess of a person that doesn't know who they are, but thinks they know everything. I think while we're in middle school, we think that it's a lot more important than it actually is. I mean, if high school isn't important in the real world, then middle school is literally nothing. A 3-year blip full of acne and cringe to the highest degree. And that's why I find it comical when I see these kids try to act so grown these days. If you're 13, stop trying to act like you're cool, okay? Go play Fortnite and
I'll deadass see 13-year-olds who look like they're 30. 13-year-olds who look like they're 30. This is a problem. As time has gone on, like the later these kids have been born, the more and more like they're just being influenced by social media. And these are the people that will peak. These are the people that will get all this like TikTok clout or be popular in school, and then once they actually become adults and they don't have that young look anymore, or they don't have that notoriety, they're cooked.
And enjoy your lack of responsibility. High school is right around the corner, and you really don't want middle school to be the peak of your existence. I guess the lesson to all the middle schoolers out there is don't be afraid to be a middle schooler. You're gonna be hella insecure and you don't even know what to do. You think you're smarter than everyone, and that's fine. We all have been there. But don't try to grow up too fast, and don't try to be too cool, because you're 13. And if you're in middle school and you were offended by that statement, just wait till you're older. You'll see that it was facts. Mr. Beast. Oh, wait.
That wasn't a bad video. That was pretty good.